The gunshot cracked through the terminal like a thunderclap from a clear Los Angeles sky, sending Alex's heart slamming against his ribs before he even registered the scream. He dropped his coffee mid-sip, the cup exploding against the tile floor in a scalding spray that soaked his sneakers, but he didn't flinch. His eyes locked on the old man crumpling beside gate 47, clutching his chest as if the world had just punched through it. In that frozen heartbeat, Alex lunged forward, shoving past a tide of fleeing passengers, because turning away wasn't in his blood. Not when someone needed saving, not even if it meant missing the flight that was supposed to carry him away from the wreckage of his last heartbreak. "Stay with me, sir." "Hey, look at me." Alex's voice cut through the chaos, steady despite the tremor in his hands as he knelt beside the veteran. An older guy with silver hair, cropped military short, and a faded Vietnam '68 patch on his jacket. The man's face was ashen, lips moving in silent pleas, but it wasn't a heart attack. Alex saw the bloom of red seeping through the fabric, a graze from the wild shot that had everyone diving for cover. Security swarmed in like hornets, barking orders, but Alex pressed his palm over the wound, ignoring the sticky warmth, his mind flashing to his own father's stories of battlefield triage, the ones that had taught him mercy before he could tie his shoes. Sirens wailed overhead, announcements crackling about an active incident. But Alex tuned it out, ripping off his scarf to staunch the bleeding while fumbling for his phone to call 911. Only to realize the line was jammed, a digital ghost town in the panic. The veteran, Tom, his dog tags glinted, gripped Alex's wrist with surprising strength, eyes fierce and grateful. "Kid, you didn't have to," he rasped. But Alex just shook his head, a wry smile breaking through the fear. "Yeah, I did. Flight's probably gone anyway." And in that ironic whisper, as the terminal doors slammed shut behind armored guards, sealing them all inside LAX like rats in a gilded trap, Alex felt the first twist of fate. Not just the lockdown that would upend his life, but the spark of something deeper, waiting in the shadows of the storm. The air in Terminal 4 thickened like Ellis smog on a bad day, every breath laced with the metallic tang of fear and the faint, acrid bite of spilled coffee still clinging to Alex's jeans. He was 28, out and proud since he was 16, with a backpack stuffed for a fresh start in Seattle. New job at a queer youth center. New city to outrun the ghost of Marcus, his ex who'd shattered their 5-year promise with a curt, "I can't do this anymore" over text. But now, slumped against a pillar with Tom's bandaged shoulder propped on a makeshift pillow of gate cushions, Alex wondered if the universe had a sick sense of humor. The lockdown announcement looped on every screen. Due to a security breach, all flights grounded. Remain calm. Authorities are responding. A breach. That gunshot, traced to a disgruntled ex-employee, whispers said, had escalated into something uglier, with reports of a secondary threat, maybe a device, turning the world's busiest airport into a pressure cooker. Volunteers emerged like hesitant stars in the dimmed lights, flight attendants passing out water, a mom corralling kids with coloring books scavenged from gift shops. Alex waved off a paramedic's offer to relocate Tom. The old man had insisted on sticking close, muttering about not wanting to die alone in some sterile box. They talked instead, halting at first, Tom's gravelly voice weaving tales of Hugh City and the buddies he'd buried young. Alex shared bits of his own war, the coming-out fight with his conservative Texas family, the pride marches that rebuilt him, the quiet ache of loving someone who couldn't love back fully. "You're a good egg, Alex," Tom said, his eyes crinkling like weathered leather. "Remind me of my boy, Jamie. He was always the fixer too." Jamie. The name hung there, casual as a dropped glove, but it lodged in Alex's chest. Tom's son, estranged for years over irreconcilable differences. Or so the vague story went. A photo flashed on Tom's phone when it buzzed back to life. Mid-30s guy with Tom's jawline but softer eyes, tousled brown hair, a shy grin that screamed artist or dreamer. "Handsome devil, ain't he?" Tom chuckled, then sobered. "Haven't spoken since he came out. I said things. Regret 'em every damn day." Alex nodded, throat tight. He'd heard that script before, played both parts. He squeezed Tom's hand, the gesture simple, human. bridging the gulf of generations and unspoken wounds. Hours blurred into a limbo of fluorescent hum and muffled sobs. Alex scavenged protein bars from a vending machine his credit card finally coaxed open, splitting them with Tom while scanning the crowd for familiar faces. That's when he saw him, leaning against a shuttered Starbucks counter, scrolling his phone with the focused intensity of someone used to deadlines. Tall, broad-shouldered in a rumpled button-down that screamed, just off a red-eye. With stubble shadowing a jaw that could cut glass and green eyes that flicked up, catching Alex's gaze like a live wire. The man, mid-30s maybe, tilted his head, a half-smile tugging his lips, and Alex felt the air shift, charged, like the moment before a summer storm breaks. "Need a hand?" The stranger pushed off the counter, closing the distance in 3 easy strides, his voice low and warm, laced with that easy California drawl. Up close, he smelled like cedar and jet fuel, and Alex's pulse kicked up a notch. "Saw you with the vet hero stuff. I'm Jordan." Hand extended, firm grip, the kind that lingers just a beat too long. Alex introduced himself, stammering slightly as Jordan crouched to check on Tom. His movements efficient, gentle. "You holding up, sir?" "Name's Jordan Hayes, freelance photojournalist, stuck here chasing a story on urban sprawl." Tom grunted approval. "Better than these TikTok kids filming everything." "Sit, son. Alex here's got stories that'll curl your toes." They did sit, the 3 of them forming an island in the sea of stranded souls. Jordan's camera dangled from his neck, a battered cannon that had seen protests and wildfires, and as the lockdown dragged into night, power flickering, rumors swirling of a bomb squad sweeping the baggage claim, he shared shots from his portfolio. Rain-slicked Seattle streets, a pride float exploding in confetti, a lone figure silhouetted against the Golden Gate at dawn. Alex leaned in, their shoulders brushing, and felt that rare pull, the kind that whispered maybe instead of careful. Jordan's laugh was infectious, rumbling low when Alex recounted his botched attempt at drag karaoke back in Austin, and for the first time since Marcus, Alex let himself imagine what it might feel like to fall again. But the airport wasn't built for tenderness. By midnight, tensions frayed, arguments erupted over charging outlets. A family meltdown echoed from the food court, and Alex caught Jordan's jaw tightening as his phone lit up with missed calls. "Boss," Jordan muttered, silencing it, "thinks I'm slacking because I'm not live-tweeting the panic." Alex wanted to ask more, to peel back the layers, but Tom dozed fitfully between them, his breathing a ragged anchor. Instead, they walked the perimeter, Jordan's flashlight app cutting through the gloom, pausing at barricaded gates where TSA agents stood vigil like stone sentinels. "You're not from here?" Jordan said, stopping at a window overlooking the tarmac, where grounded planes loomed like beached whales under sodium lights. Alex shook his head. "Texas-born, LA transplant. Chasing rain instead of dust devils." Jordan turned, his profile sharp against the glass, eyes searching. "Seattle's got plenty of both. What pulls you there?" The question hung heavy, laced with subtext, and Alex met it head-on. "A job. A reset. Last guy. He bailed when it got real." Vulnerability slipped out unbidden, raw as the wound Tom still nursed. Jordan's hand found his arm, thumb tracing a light circle. "Comfort, or more. Real's overrated sometimes, but worth it when it sticks." Their first kiss happened there, impulsive as the lockdown itself, Jordan's lips soft and urgent against Alex's in the shadowed alcove, tasting of spearmint gum and unspoken promises. It was brief, electric, pulling back only when a guard's radio crackled nearby. No words, just a shared breath, eyes locked in that post-spark haze. Alex's heart raced, not from fear now, but from the terrifying thrill of wanting. For the first time in months, the future didn't feel like escape. It felt like possibility. Dawn crept in hesitant, painting the terminal in bruised purples and golds. But the lockdown held firm, the incident morphing into a full-scale manhunt for an accomplice who'd slipped through security with a backpack that set off alarms. Alex woke to Tom's groan. The old man's color improved, but his spirit sagging. "Dreamed of Jamie last night," he confessed over lukewarm airport pretzels. Told him I was sorry. Woke up wishing I could make it true. Alex listened, his own mind tangled in Jordan's orbit. The way he'd crashed out beside them on the carpet, head lolling against Alex's shoulder, trust woven into every snore. Jordan stirred then, green eyes blinking open, and the morning unfolded in stolen moments. Him snapping candid shots of resilient kids building forts from armrests. Alex sketching a quick map of escape routes on a napkin, half joking, half serious. Tom regaling them with war stories that blurred into life lessons. Love ain't about the battles you win, Tom said, eyes on the middle distance. It's the ones you fight anyway. Jordan shot Alex a look then, loaded and lingering, and later, when they slipped away to a quiet corner near the chapels. Ironic sanctuary in chaos. They kissed again, slower this time, hands mapping collarbones and whispers trading dreams of post-lockdown coffee in Seattle, where Jordan had a lead on a gig. But cracks spiderwebbed in the idyll. Jordan's phone buzzed incessantly now, texts pinging like incoming fire, and Alex glimpsed one during a water run. Call me. We need to talk about last night. From E. With a heart emoji that twisted like a knife. Alex shoved down the jealousy, chalking it up to paranoia. Jordan had been upfront about casual flings in his nomadic life, but the seed lodged deep. By afternoon, as authorities herded groups for status checks, Jordan vanished into the crowd for a quick interview, leaving Alex with Tom and a gnawing void. He returned flushed, evasive, camera slung low. Got a tip on the story, nothing big, but his eyes skittered away, and when Alex pressed, gentle as a question mark, Jordan snapped. It's work, Alex. Not everything's a rom-com plot. The words stung, sharp as shrapnel, and Tom, sensing the shift, cleared his throat. Boys, grudges are heavier than rucksacks. Drop it. They did, uneasily, but the air hummed with unspoken fractures. Evening brought escalation. A muffled boom from the lower levels. Controlled detonation, they said, and screams rippling like aftershocks. Alex shielded Tom as plaster dust sifted from the ceiling, Jordan's arm around them both in a fierce huddle. In that crush, confessions spilled. Jordan admitted the ex, Ethan, a Seattle editor who'd proposed once, then ghosted when Jordan's career pulled him coast to coast. I thought I was over it. Then this. He trailed off, hand finding Alex's in the dark. You make me want to try again. For real. Alex believed him or wanted to, their third kiss sealing it under the emergency exit sign, bodies pressed close in defiant intimacy. But betrayal brewed in the blind spots. Late that night, while Alex dozed guarding Tom's vitals, Jordan slipped away again, phone to ear in a hushed booth. Ethan, I can't. It's complicated. No, he's different. The words, caught in Alex's half-sleep, ignited doubt like dry tinder. The second boom rattled the terminal harder than the first. A deep-throated rumble that sent water sloshing from plastic cups and loose change skittering across the floor like fleeing insects. Alex jolted awake, his neck crick-stiff from the unforgiving airport bench. Tom's steady snore the only anchor in the disorientation. But Jordan was gone. Again. His camera abandoned on the armrest like a discarded promise. And in its place, the phone screen glowed with a fresh text. Boarding pass resent. See you in SEA. Love V. The words blurred through Alex's rising nausea, betrayal coiling cold in his gut. He pocketed the phone, resolve hardening like concrete setting under LA's relentless sun. Not confrontation, not yet, but a quiet stealing for whatever came next. Tom stirred, wincing as he shifted his bandaged arm. Rough night. His voice was a rasp, eyes sharp despite the pain, reading Alex like an open dispatch. Alex forced a nod, helping the old man sip from a pilfered Sprite. Just the usual apocalypse vibes. You, Tom chuckled, a wheezy sound that eased the knot in Alex's chest. Dreamt of the old unit. We were pinned down in a rice paddy once, no way out but through. Learned then. Trust the guy next to you, even when he snores like a howitzer. Alex managed a smile, but it fractured at the edges. Trust. The word echoed hollow now, tainted by Jordan's vanishing axe and that damning message. Word spread through the stranded like wildfire on dry brush. The accomplice was cornered in the parking garage. Negotiations dragging into a standoff that pinned the bomb squad and every SWAT van in a 50-mile radius. Flights wouldn't budge until dawn at earliest, maybe longer if things went south. Alex volunteered for the supply run. Anything to burn off the simmer, and wove through clusters of the weary. A bride in wilted lace consoling her groom, tech bros arguing crypto crashes, a choir group from Ohio turning hymns into an impromptu jam session that lifted the pall for a fleeting hour. He loaded a cart with blankets from the lost and found, energy bars from the commissary, now a barter bazaar, and paused at a makeshift memorial wall where passengers scrawled messages on butcher paper. Safe travels, world. Let's get home. Jordan reappeared as Alex wheeled back, materializing from the escalator shadows with coffee in hand. 2 cups, steam curling like peace offerings. Tracked down the last pot. Figured you could use this. His smile was tentative, green eyes pleading, and damn if it didn't tug at Alex's resolve. They sat with Tom, the steam from the cups mingling with the old man's tales of post-war reinvention. How he traded foxholes for a garage in Pasadena, fixing up muscle cars for vets down on their luck. Fixed more than engines, Tom said, gaze drifting to Alex and Jordan. Fixed souls sometimes. The conversation flowed easy at first, Jordan's foot nudging Alex's under the bench in silent apology. But tension threaded through like rebar in wet cement. When Tom dozed off mid-anecdote, Jordan leaned in, voice low. Last night, I should have said, Ethan's been blowing up my phone since the lockdown hit the news. Weren't exclusive, but he wants to talk when I land. Alex's jaw clenched, the coffee turning bitter on his tongue. And you? What do you want? Jordan's hand covered his, warm and sure. This, you. Seattle could be our reset to me shooting stories, you building that center. No ghosts, just us. It was the vulnerability in his voice, the raw edge that mirrored Alex's own scars, that cracked the dam. They talked then, really talked. Jordan spilling about the proposal that fizzled into resentment, the loneliness of hotel bars and bylines that read like eulogies for connection. Alex shared Marcus's slow fade, the gaslighting whispers that made him question his worth until pride therapy rebuilt him brick by brick. I ran to Seattle to stop running, Alex admitted, thumb tracing Jordan's knuckles. But meeting you feels like arriving. Jordan's kiss was fierce, claiming, right there in the open terminal, heedless of the gawking family across the way or the guard's raised eyebrow. Tasted like absolution, like the first rain after drought. Yet doubt lingered, a shadow at the feast. As afternoon wore on, the standoff escalated. Megaphones blaring from outside, a helicopter's womp-womp vibrating the glass. Passengers clustered around CNN feeds on mounted TVs, faces etched with the collective dread of bystanders in someone else's war. Alex caught Jordan slipping glances at his phone, fingers twitching like they itched to reply, and when a group of reporters commandeered a corner for a pool interview. Human interest amid the horror. One pitched, Jordan hesitated, eyes flicking to Alex. I should get the angle for the piece. Alex nodded, too quick. Go. Stories wait for no one. Alone with Tom, the old man fixed him with a look that peeled back layers. That boy's carrying baggage heavier than mine. Seen it in the trenches. Eyes that dart like they're scouting exits. Alex swallowed hard, the truth bubbling up. Found a text. From his ex-boarding pass to Seattle. Tom's sigh was heavy, world-weary. Ah, kid. Betrayal's the foxhole you dig yourself. But love? That's climbing out together. He fumbled for his wallet, extracting a creased photo. Jamie, younger, beaming from a surfboard in Malibu. Called him this morning. Voicemail, but I left it all out there. Apology, pride, the works. Your nudge, Alex. Felt right. Pride swelled in Alex's chest, mingling with the ache. Tom's courage shamed his own hesitation, and when Jordan returned, flushed from the scrum, notebook crammed with quotes, he pulled him aside to the chapel vestibule, stained glass saints watching judgment free. The text. I saw it. Jordan's face crumpled. No denial, just raw regret. It was nothing, I swear. Ethan's clinging because the lockdowns got everyone unmoored. But you're the anchor. Lies or truth? Alex searched those green depths, finding echoes of his own fears, and chose belief, because in the thin air of crisis, hope was the only oxygen. Night fell heavy, the terminal a blackout cocoon save for phone screens and the blue pulse of police lights bleeding through windows. They bunked down in a fortified huddle. Tom in the center, Alex and Jordan flanking like sentries, sharing earbuds for a pilfered playlist of Springsteen anthems that Tom hummed off-key. Whispers turned to dreams. Jordan's vision of a photo book on queer resilience. Alex's plans for art therapy workshops. Tom's quiet wish to hug his son without the weight of old words. Sleep came fitful, Jordan's head on Alex's chest, heartbeat a lullaby against the distant clamor of resolution. But dawn's gray light brought the hammer. Authorities announced the standoff's end. The accomplice in cuffs, sweeps clear. But in the surge of relief, chaos reigned. Priority boardings called, hugs fracturing the fragile community. Alex helped Tom to his feet. The old man stepped steadier, when Jordan's phone erupted. Not a text, but a video call. Ethan's face filling the screen, tear-streaked and desperate. Jordan? Oh God, you're okay? I saw the news. I can't lose you again. Jordan froze, thumb hovering. And in that suspended second, Alex saw the fracture lines deepen. Jordan answered, voice soft. Ethan, I'm here. The call stretched, murmurs of I miss you, and we can fix this. While Alex stood rooted, the world tilting. Tom tugged his sleeve, eyes sad but kind. Go get your flight, son. Some stories end before they scar. But Alex couldn't move, couldn't unhear the intimacy in Jordan's tone. The way his free hand clenched like it warred with itself. When the call ended, see you in Seattle. Love you. Jordan turned, face ashen. Alex, wait. It's not what. You said I was the anchor. The words escaped flat, hollow. Jordan reached, but Alex stepped back, the betrayal crystallizing cold and final. Turns out I'm just the layover. He turned then, helping Tom toward the medical escort, refusing the plea in Jordan's eyes. The terminal emptied in waves, reunions blooming amid the rubble. But Alex's heart boarded alone. Seattle's promise tainted by the sting of almost. Re-entry hit like turbulence Alex couldn't brace for. The Seattle rain sheeting his cab window in relentless gray, mirroring the fog in his chest as Pike Place buzzed oblivious below. He'd landed 6 hours after clearance. Tom's discharge papers clutched like a talisman. The old man's parting grip firm. You're stronger than you know, kid. Right, that boy. Jamie's got your number now, thanks to me. A lifeline tossed. Unexpected. But Alex's fingers itched for his phone, only to delete half-typed apologies to Jordan. Each one dissolving into why bother? The youth center job started Monday, a rainbow flag fluttering over the door like a dare. But the first week blurred in autopilot. Orientation sessions, supply runs, smiles pasted on for teens spilling stories of family rifts and first crushes that echoed too close to home. Jordan's texts arrived sporadic, a deluge then drought. Miss you already. Call when you land? Unanswered, followed by I messed up. Ethan was panic, not plan. Please. Alex read them in the dead of night. Apartment walls thin as tissue. The space needles glow mocking from his window. Betrayal wasn't the bullet. It was the ricochet, embedding doubts that turned every what-if to shrapnel. He threw himself into work instead, co-facilitating a workshop on queer joy in crisis, where a kid named Riley, 17, trans, fresh from a conversion camp escape, shared how small acts of kindness had saved him. Like some stranger at a bus stop just listened, changed everything. Alex nodded, throat tight, Tom's face flashing in his mind. The veteran's quiet absolution, a balm he hadn't earned. 2 weeks in, the call came not from Jordan but Tom. Alex? It's the old warhorse. Docs say I'm good as new. Minus the dramatic flair. Laughter rumbled through the line, warm as Pasadena sun. Jamie's in town. Dropped by unannounced, heard my message. We talked, really talked. You're doing, kid? Pride swelled, tentative, and when Tom invited him for dinner, No pressure, just ribs and regrets. Alex agreed. The drive south, a ribbon of highway unspooling like therapy. Malibu's cliffs hugged the Pacific in rugged embrace. Tom's garage, a time capsule of chrome and oil stains. Classic Mustangs gleaming under fluorescent strips. Jamie was there, real as the photo but amplified, tall, with Tom's build softened by surfer's lean, brown hair sun-bleached, eyes a stormy blue that snagged Alex's on entry. "Dad's been singing your praises," Jamie said. Handshake lingering. Calluses rough from what turned out to be pottery wheels. The airport savior. Sounds like a movie. Alex laughed it off, but the spark was there. Subtle as sea glass and sand. Easy banter over grilled corn. Stories of Jamie's coming out clash. Tom's guilt raw in the retelling. Mirroring Alex's own Texan exodus. Tom played matchmaker without subtlety, excusing himself for parts run that stretched suspiciously long, leaving them on the deck with wine and waves crashing below. "So, Dad says you missed a flight for him. What's your origin story?" Jamie asked, legs dangling over the rail, vulnerability tucked into the casual. Alex shared the edited version, lockdown, heroism, the almost with Jordan omitted like a redacted line. Jamie listened, head tilted, then confessed his own. Years adrift in San Diego galleries, relationships that fizzled under the weight of family silence. Coming back is terrifying, but worth it for him. His hand brushed Alex's on the railing, electric but unhurried. And for the first time since LAX, Alex felt seen. Not as a fixer, but as flawed, worthy. Word count be damned. The evening stretched into stars wheeling overhead, laughter punctuating silences that felt like invitations. Jamie's kiss, when it came, slow, salt-tanged on the deck steps, was revelation. No ricochet, just resonance. They parted with numbers exchanged, promises of Seattle visits, and Alex drove north buoyant. The rain now a rhythm rather than requiem. But fate, that capricious director, wasn't done scripting twists. Jordan's next message landed like an aftershock. "In Seattle for a shoot. Coffee? Need to explain." Alex's thumb hovered, the old wound throbbing, but curiosity or masochism won. They met at a Capitol Hill cafe. All exposed brick and indie folk humming low. Jordan sliding into the booth with that disarming grin faded to earnest plea. "I ended it with Ethan. For good. The lockdown clarified everything. You were the real thing." Photos spilled across the table. Candid lockdown shots. Alex's profile in soft focus. Captioned anchor in his notebook. "I chose wrong because I was scared. Don't make me regret it more." Conflict crested there. Words tumbling like the cascade outside. Alex's hurt laid bare. Jordan's regrets a torrent. The cafe a confessional booth for what-ifs and why-nots. "You ghosted the hard part," Alex said, voice steady but eyes stinging. "Trust isn't a layover. It's the whole damn flight." Jordan nodded, no deflection. Just the raw edge of someone remade by loss. They didn't kiss, didn't resolve, but parted with a tentative maybe, Jordan's hand squeezing Alex's shoulder like a vow in braille. Weeks wove into rhythm. Jamie's texts blooming into weekend hikes in the Olympics. Clay-smeared fingers linking over campfires. Stories deepening like roots in volcanic soil. Tom FaceTimed weekly, gruff updates laced with "treat my boy right." And Alex did, finding in Jamie the quiet strength Marcus lacked. Acceptance without erasure. Love that amplified rather than absorbed. Jordan faded to echoes. A final email with published photos. "Your story inspired this. Grateful for the chapter. Humanistic closure. No villains, just paths diverging kinder." Climax brewed subtly. A storm front rolling in from the south. Tom's health dipped. A routine check uncovering shadows from the old wound. And Jamie flew down. Alex tagging along unbidden. The flight a mirror to LAX chaos but laced with solidarity. In the hospital's sterile hush, Tom gripped their hands, eyes bright. "Knew you'd come through. Both of ya." The scare passed, a blip in the EKG of life, but it forged them tighter. Jamie and Alex. Rings exchanged in a cliffside ceremony months later. Vows whispered against Pacific roar. Betrayal's scar faded to silver. a reminder not of ruin but resilience. Alex's center thrived, walls alive with teen murals of queer horizons. Jamie's pots graced galleries, each one etched with subtle hearts. Tom visited often, Mustang rumbling up the drive, stories now laced with pride. In the end, it wasn't grand gestures or lockdowns that defined them, but the small mercies, the hand extended in crisis, the apology voiced too late but heard just right. Love, it turned out, wasn't the absence of storms, but sailing them side by side, rain-slicked and unbroken. Epilogue's light filtered soft through Seattle's evergreens. A year post-lockdown, the youth center's garden blooming defiant against November chill. Alex knelt in the dirt, guiding Riley's hands around a sapling's roots. Plant it deep, kid. Storms come, but this holds. Riley grinned, non-binary flag pin glinting, their story now a workshop staple. Survival, not just endurance. Inside, laughter echoed from the main hall. Jamie's pottery demo for the group, clay flying in joyful arcs, his laugh that low, ocean rumble that still set Alex's pulse adrift. They'd built this mosaic from shards. Jamie relocating north, studio in a converted loft overlooking the sound, collaborations sparking with the center's art program. Tom's garage visits became ritual, the old man tinkering with a hybrid now. Gotta keep up with you young bucks. His Vietnam tales evolving into guest speaker slots on veteran resilience. Queer vets sharing stages with pride flags unfurled. Never too late to course correct, he'd say. Eyes on Jamie and Alex. The reconciliation a quiet triumph etched in every shared meal. Jordan's path crossed theirs once more, serendipitous at a Pride Expo. Booth stacked with his book, Stranded Hearts. Lockdown Love in the American Skyway. Alex's silhouette gracing the cover in ethereal glow. Heard you two made it official, Jordan said over exhibit hall din. No bitterness, just genuine warmth. A beer raised in toast. Proud of you, man. You deserved the anchor. Alex clinked bottles, words flowing easy now. Forgiveness not forced, but found. The betrayal transmuted to teacher. Jordan's latest series? Queer migrants navigating borders, stories of arrival amid exile. Your influence, he admitted, and in that nod, cycles closed gentle. Evenings found them on the deck, Jamie's head on Alex's shoulder, wine-warming palms as ferries cut wakes below. Remember LAX? Jamie murmured one dusk, fingers tracing the faint scar on Alex's palm from that shattered coffee cup. Dad says you dove in like it was nothing. Alex chuckled, pressing a kiss to Jamie's temple. Wasn't nothing. Changed everything. No drama now, just depth. The kind forged in hospital waits and highway drives, in apologies voiced over crackling lines and hands clasped through storms. Humanity's thread wove through it all. Tom's final letter, penned post-diagnosis but pre-farewell, read at his Pasadena send-off under Mustang canopies. Fought my wars, lost some brothers, found sons instead. Alex, you gave an old grunt grace. Taught me love's the real battlefield, worth every scar. Jamie, my boy, proud don't cover it. Keep fixing what's broken together. Tears fell free, but so did laughter. Ribs grilled in his honor, the garage echoing with toasts to messes mended. In the quiet after, Alex and Jamie walked the cliffs, Pacific eternal below. Their steps synced like heartbeats. Betrayal's echo? A distant wave, receding. Romance's fire? Steady hearth glow. Life, dramatic and gay-capped, unfolded not in climaxes but continuums. Small acts stacking to legacies, love a verb always in the doing. And as gulls wheeled overhead, free in vast skies, Alex knew. They'd missed flights, locked down hearts, but arrived whole to skies wide open.